obviously, again, I say I don't speak Spanish. They didn't have a translator. I got the letter that he prepared and wrote translated. And when he was done with it, he kind of broke down in tears. Got a couple hugs from his teammates, his wife, his family. It was just a really cool, really powerful moment.
I want to talk about a couple things. This was an article you wrote. You wrote about Gonzalo Higuain retiring. He did a press conference. There were tears. We don't often we see these in La Liga, especially La Liga. For some reason, I don't know what is. Are the Spanish people better at crying? Or just there's something we're more. You don't see it in England.
Yeah, definitely not as much. Yeah,
you don't see just Lampard crying, in a Chelsea shirt or whatever. But Gonzalo Higuain, and you go check out Tom's article on MLSsoccer.com. But there's something I think when he got to the league, people immediately made assumptions about him, right? It's always retirement league this, retirement league that. But I think after seeing the press conference and reading your story, I don't know, I have like a different appreciation for him, genuinely, because I definitely was affected by the comment, which I'm assuming was real, but the one about I thought I would play here with a cigarette in my mouth or whatever.
Yeah. He didn't do himself any favors for this reception. Like that was what I was about to say as you started that. Like, yeah, I was guilty of that too, and for cause. We didn't invent this out of thin air. Yeah. You just watched him play. Like Fabian Herbers on Z Soccer podcast with Julian Gressel and Fabian Herbers was like, F this guy. Like that was a genuine sentiment, and like enough for him to say it on a podcast. Like repercussions be damned, because I'm sure people weren't exactly thrilled like at a club or at the league about it. So like that was a genuine thing. So his press conference yesterday, he had a prepared statement. It was genuine, thoughtful, honest, introspective. Like looked back at a career that's a little bit complicated just because we boil these players down to one moment. It's a different level because Gonzalo Higuain is legitimate world-class striker, and I don't 100%. Think people talk about that enough. Yeah. He's still the tied for the record for single-season goals in Serie A. This dude has scored more than 300 goals in his career, 75 appearances with Argentina. He's played in a World Cup final, 2 Copa America finals, but because he missed a chance in a World Cup final, that's all people remember and think about. And like he talked about it honestly about
he's the Wondolowski of Argentina.
That's where it came to me. Like when Wando retired last year, and a lot of MLS people were, again, he's the MLS goal king. People were giving him praise, as you should go out. And we need to treat our legends better everywhere around. Like same thing with Higuain, not MLS legend, but just a soccer legend. Yeah. And so many people are like, you should have retired after 2014 when he missed against Belgium. It's like, bro, like it's like getting to the World Cup and being good enough to be in the World Cup squad is somewhat a detriment if you're not like the best or you like one moment, man, like of a career of all of this. And Higuain's the same thing. And like there's it's a complicated relationship with Argentine fans. And he talked about like, 5 seconds behind a computer can ruin somebody's life. And he said, he's like, look, thank God I had so many people in my life that helped me, but some people don't recover from it. So just please think about what you're posting to, not professional athletes, not to me, but just everybody in general. So I thought that was really powerful. It was a different side of Gonzalo Higuain that I've never seen. And again, maybe this is because I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know how many interviews he does or how often he speaks like this. But from what I've gathered, it was kind of the most open, honest, and introspective he's been. And it was really, really cool.
Never seen him be that vulnerable. He always came off to me as like a pretty kind of staunch, kind of serious dude. Almost very... the opposite of Federico Higuain. You know what I mean? Where he to me, he was just like the calmer older brother who was just like the voice of reason and a lot of every club he played for, all the players respected him. But I really did appreciate this from Gonzalo. Realistically, I wish he did it before announcing retirement. I don't know. I think the sort of what I was saying about players being honest and being transparent, I think that's a benefit to their brand. There's always going to be people that are just ridiculous on the internet.
But that's the thing. So, like, you in the public eye and everything that you do is to an audience, and like it's vulnerable. And particularly somebody like him, I can understand why. Like he hasn't posted anything on Twitter. Like you could tell that all of it, like it's not him being him. And like even when he was using it, like. That comes like Jalsi's artist early in the year had to turn off comments on his Instagram. Like that's gross, man. It's awful. He's put up a picture of like his wife and children, and he has to turn off comments, or he puts up a picture of didn't get the result we wanted today, and just it's awful, and it's so I understand why people would be closed off. Like maybe it's just me being a little naive. Like I'm with you. I wish that I think that did more good than harm, or like the vulnerabilities that he's opening up that he could get kind of hit with by fans. Again, I don't see all the mentions. We're predisposed just as human beings to, if there's 99 positive comments and one negative one, the one negative one sticks with us. Sure. So it really only takes a handful of people, and someone like him, like he's going to have a lot of crap to deal with. So again, good for him for being vulnerable and strong. And I thought it was really, obviously, again, I say I don't speak Spanish. They didn't have a translator. I got the letter that he prepared and wrote translated. And when he was done with it, he kind of broke down in tears. Got a couple hugs from his teammates, his wife, his family. It was just a really cool, really powerful moment. And like, I was hoping that he was going to stick around for one more year, be like, hey, I want to live and play in Miami. I won't take a DP deal. I was talking to people at the club about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, please tell me that this is a possibility. And they're like, maybe he'll change his mind.
Yeah, he did an interview. I don't know if the full interview was released, but with his teammate Victor Ulloa.
Oh yeah,
and it was in Spanish. And it was like one of those. Man, I'm like, I wish I would have seen this sooner. I would have wished I'd seen that side of it sooner. Crimson Pizza just said Roy Keane announced his retirement and emotionally 2 foot a random passerby. It's a little different out there, okay? David Meyer said, does MLS get the most great player retirement press conference in the world? Meaning, is this the best?
I think I get the concept. I think it's a half joke about because people come here and then retire.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, I just saw a story about Lionel Messi deciding on what his future is going to be, and he's not going to decide until next year. But a lot of the rumor. I mean, we just
signs were all pointing to Miami.
We saw him in Florida, in Miami, and then they were buddy with Higuain. I mean, it feels like it could be happening. And if MLS gets the retirement speech, would it be bigger than him leaving Barcelona? I mean,
it can't be.
I guess it can't be.
It can't be.
But the tears, bro. Zoom in on those. Okay? We're just like, awful, sports producers that are just hoping awful things happen so we can...
Emotional. I think those were proud tears. I was looking back on everything.
Yeah. Okay. Michael Raymond said Gonzalo is retiring so Messi can come in. Hey, bro.
They would have been able to have them both. I want it to be pointed out. Like, they did have an open DP spot. And there's no way that he would have been back on a DP spot. Like, I can't imagine that the team. But again, he even said he had decided months ago. Like, this wasn't like a
right. There was like some rumor.
Through his dad or whatever, and he was like, "You'll hear it from me when I am." But
Dad, why'd you ruin? Like, yo, we had a content strategy planned around this. What are you doing, Pops? So speaking of Inter Miami, what do you make of this turnaround, especially this year? And we know all the financial issues that they dealt with and the penalties and everything. But for Phil Neville to really,
he's been awesome.
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's been great. And then to turn around and then bring in Alejandro Pozuelo, which, I mean,
Chris Henderson's been awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, how does this happen? But it worked out. But to make those, to make these changes and still like have the team kind of believing that they could possibly make a playoff spot, and they're sitting in a playoff spot right now. But what do you make of that turnaround?
Yeah, so I'll talk about Chris Henderson, the sporting director. Incredible. It was like a magician the way that he was able to. He inherited so many bad contracts and financial woes. Like they had sanctions because of previous regimes doing things illegally, Matuidi, all that stuff. Like he had nothing to work with, and he kind of leveraged everything he could to make the team competitive enough. And on the other side of that, Phil Neville, who there was so many kind of shots taken at him. Like, you only got this because of nepotism. You only got this because you're friends with David Beckham. Like whatever. He's been phenomenal this year. He benched Gonzalo Higuain early in the season. He has found the right way to balance challenging his best players, and like you listen to him in a press conference, like you can tell why the locker room can you can tell why they're fighting like this. This team has never fought like this. Even in his first year, they were making changes last year, but like this was a team that if something went wrong, that's it. They're gonna fold over.
Right.
Like the culture foundational change that has started with Phil Neville and Chris Henderson as well in the front office and everything else that they've done behind the scenes around the club to build out scouting departments and infrastructure, all this stuff. It's things that we don't see. They're so crucial. And again, like I wrote them off earlier in the season. Like I thought that they were going to take steps in the right direction. I thought Chris Henderson was a phenomenal hire. I wasn't out on Phil Neville either. I figured that it was going to be a difficult job for him, just given everything else. And Chris Henderson didn't hire him, just think about what you would do if you were a general manager. I want to make the decision. Look, if I'm going to do bad, I want it to be my decision, go out on my own sword, right? So those are always difficult, and I'm curious to see how those goes, but they have a really good working relationship. Phil Neville, again, has been awesome the way that he's gotten this team. You know, I wish I was talking more about tactics, and this isn't to say that he doesn't do anything tactically, but like at a base level, they've given this team something it didn't have to fight, which was, you know, resistance. He again benched Gonzalo Higuain, but didn't like have him go, all right, like screw you, like I'm gonna retire at the end of the year, like I don't care, like
right.
Who the hell are you? Like I've done all this in my career, like I don't need this. Like he kept him within the group, and like that is such a fine line, and that doesn't happen in MLS very often.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt that Campana just completely went off. And you know, either like you could bench Gonzalo when you have a player like that who's scoring a bunch of goals for you. So that was great to see. Paulo Nelson said, "Love the haircut, Christian." That's why we need more of out here, okay? Thank you, all right? We don't need to, you know, comment on my mustache or lack of mustache. Okay, the SKC Fan TV said, are we worried about how clubs will handle attendance when a Messi or Ronaldo comes to town? Attendance? What do you mean?
Worried? Are we worried? they're gonna be happy.
What are you talking about? Well, holding bags of cash? My trip over? Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna be worried about. I mean, look, but you know, if Messi does go to Miami at some point, it would be such a groundbreaking and just what like David Beckham did to the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think NYCFC gets a stadium. When Messi goes to Inter, we need Messi to go to Inter Miami immediately and, you know, and contact somebody on the MLS intranet and let them know to get the stadium book because he doesn't want to play in Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, or Rebel Arena. I don't know. So that's how it's going to work out. Okay.